into exec and they're all different.
No, I just noticed in the minutes, the difference of when we checked into the executive session. And for whatever reasons, I know I was in Vermont, my email I didn't get the notice to click in until 4 minutes late, whatever. So I just thought if we had it ahead of time, it would be easy to switch from one to the other.
Yeah, I was trying to decide if we could accurately get there by like 7:45.
Okay,
But if I set it for 7:45 and then we get there at 7:20,
right, doesn't work.
doesn't work.
Okay, good idea, but we can call the meeting to order. Carol, do you need a roster of attendees or do you have that on your screen, Carol Wardell?
It's recorded on the screen, but you really should record the names verbally, so it's recorded in the audio.
Okay, so present on behalf of the Ag Trust is Bill Richmond, Wayne Montgomery, Rusty Cabot, Michael Steers, David Wexler, Ellie Field, and Ed Miato. And we have other honored guests with us, but those are the members of the trust that are present. I'll call the meeting to order, and I would entertain a motion to seal the minutes from the November 4th of this year executive session, please.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Who
Aye.
made the motion, guys?
Mike,
It was
Ellie
Mike.
seconded.
Thank you.
Next item is to hear a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of November 4th,
So move.
both public and
I
executive.
make the motion.
David made the motion, Mike seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The annual report is in our packet. It has a lot of numbers in it. And it seems to meet the criteria to me, and the verbiage seems okay to me. Is there any comment on the annual report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to publish, I guess. That's what we're doing.
You want to publish and approve?
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Rusty made the motion, Ed seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl, for putting that together. Next item, another housekeeping item, review and vote to publish the 2021 meeting schedule. I'm fine with it.
I vote to accept it and publish it.
We just have to make one change to it. I just need to add language that says that the meetings may be held via virtual or teleconference. Okay.
Okay. With that in the motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl.
Wait, I have a question. I'm just looking at my calendar. The thing says Monday, January 6th, but I have that's a Wednesday.
Yeah, it should say Wednesday, because we
Okay.
meet on Wednesdays. You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure. Sometimes the first one gets mixed up because of the holiday, but
Right. Good
I
catch.
changed it, didn't.
You see that, Cheryl?
I do.
Okay. Review of correspondence. Email from Matt Sardina. That's a hunting email. You can see the correspondence. He's all set. Email from Carter Wilkie about the land trusts, Quinnick Land Trust comprehensive farm conservation plan. That's an interesting plan. We could learn from that. Email from USDA NRCS Rhode Island about their newsletter. Email from Rupert about trail grant and wetland rules. I can tell you, as the representative of the Conservation Commission to the Ag Trust, that the Conservation Commission did weigh in on the wetland rules, specifically made the comment that the proposed rules reduce some wetlands setbacks from to a uniform amount of 50 feet, Carol Traki? Is that the right number? And
75, I think.
75. And
55 for slumps.
our current setback in Little Compton is 100. And we told the state in our comments about the wetland rules that we wanted to be able to maintain our 100. Given our well water septic situation. So that was the main point of our comments. I don't know what's the schedule to get those things approved, you know, Mike or Carol?
So
I think there's a,
the rulemaking, there's a hearing coming up, so it's another time for comment is coming.
Okay.
Mike can say more
I
about.
think it's the middle of, it's coming up quickly. I think it's December 16th or 17th. Is a
17th.
public hearing, a Zoom public hearing by DEM for comments on their proposed draft.
And I think they're accepting written comments until January 8th.
Okay. What do we got here? Email from Molly Gray. I did get back to her. It's in the packet. Kind of interesting. So the only sort of important thing there is apparently the family's considering selling or offering to sell the fee on land that we already have an easement over. This is one of those 4 long skinny Peckham lots off of West Main Road, south of Almy. My reply to her was, we don't generally do that because it's already preserved. Why would we expend resources on an already preserved parcel? So I said if there were all 4 lots being offered for sale, which might give us a different agricultural management opportunity, then maybe we could talk. But that was more or less the gist of my reply to her. The next thing is Carter Wilkie again, more website resources about farmers and getting farmers onto land. A letter from,
Do you want those on the website?
I don't think we do yet, no. The Gary Neville letter, insurance stuff, Land Trust Council, and Kate Almy, which we replied to. So that's correspondence. Treasurer's report, Wayne.
This is for the month of October. Beginning balance, $2,465,326.89. Revenues from the tax, transfer tax, $145,800. Interest earned, $1,107.99. Monthly expenses, $6,575.40, which leaves us with a total of $2,605,659.48. We'll go on to bills. Russo Landscaping, $1,020. Cheryl Katie, $2,175. Rivis Law LLC, $1,224.50. Mosaic Land Management, $510. Mosaic Land Management, $1,820. Perez Landscaping, $1,462.50. Allard, Pollock and Sheen, $3,591.75.
I move that we pay the bills.
Can we make an addition? In your
Yeah.
correspondence, there was a notice that the renewal for the umbrella policy was going to be 1632. Can we add that to the bills to be paid upon receipt? Because the bill generally comes in like 2 weeks before your next meeting and it's due before we meet.
Yeah, I'd say we do that.
Yeah, I include that in my motion.
Second.
Wayne seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Cheryl, I can,
Last month, we had 27 transactions for a total tax paid to the trust of $1,118,220. That's
which
probably the
has to be a record, right?
biggest month we've ever had.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for me.
Thank you, Wayne. Cheryl, I'll get you the authorization form bills. Do I have to, I can just do the front page only, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, subcommittee reports, public awareness. Website update, any update, Cheryl?
I sent you a copy of the email from Roy regarding adding hunting to the website. How do we want to do that? Do we want it as a separate tab? Do we want it under recreation? He has to research exactly how you want to set up that file.
Right, so for the larger group here, and I haven't seen Roy's reply, I don't know why. Oh, I had some email trouble this week, but I think it's fixed. Anyway, so we have, I think, between 8 and a dozen hunters at the moment, and they have applied to maybe an equal number of properties, and I'm happy to review their applications and actually talk to a bunch of them, which is sort of fun and all that. But I think for myself, and I also think for the sake of the trust, we should have a central record of who is hunting where. And I don't know if it has to be public access, accessible record. I don't know why it wouldn't be necessarily, but it could be. But I think we need to have that. And for instance, one of the hunters was essentially questioned about his right to hunt at a certain place by a neighbor as he was going in hunt. And that neighbor went to the town hall and got Bob Mushin and Tony Texera on the case. So they contacted me and I sent the permission slip and all that sort of thing. But if it were in a central place, that sort of thing would be automatic, and maybe even the questioner could just go look. So that's what this conversation is about. I was asking Cheryl to ask the website guy if there's something we can do that would not only create a record, but would also maybe slightly automate the process that I go through with each guy. So that's what that's about. So if anyone has any input, chime in.
So I think that having the application online for a hunter to apply for permission would be good. Then to have the approval on the website would additionally be good, so that the responsibility is, if a person has a question, they know they can go to the website, see if there's permission, and it protects the hunter that we've given permission for
Right.
any questioning that a landowner might have as to the permission that's been given.
Yep. I think that makes sense. Any other comments, David?
It would really be great if we could have a map of the whole town and have those areas where hunting's allowed labeled either 1, 2, 3, 4 or A, B, C, D. And then you can catalog them. A is so-and-so, B is, these are the hunters. And would it be easier for us to keep track of? And also, that could be a good visual on the website.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. A way, a visual tracking aid would be good. I don't know, that's a question for Roy, I guess. I mean, we have a map or a form of a map, and I don't know, and we don't need to get into the technical details here, but and we don't have an interactive map at the moment. Maybe we go to that for other reasons as well. I don't know. But maybe Carol and I talk about that.
Bill, if you look at the Westport Ag Trust, they have a map of the whole area, and then they have each place. You've seen it. So
Yeah, I have
it's easy
seen
to
it.
keep track. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, I will
I don't think
continue
you
to
should
work.
do it. I don't think
Okay.
you should do it. I think you should delegate it. I think somebody can do that.
Well, yeah, I think we'll take these comments and I'll get with Cheryl and Carol Traki and Roy, and we'll see what's feasible and when. Okay, thanks for that input. So Stewardship Committee, Carol, well, the first item is leases. I have them here, and I will tell you about them. We have a proposal from Otterbrook Farm. It says, I, Craig Hibbett from Otterbrook Farm, would like to request a proposal to farm the property on Brownell Road, Little Compton, plat 32, lot 17-4. I would like to continue my lease in the amount of $200 for the time period January 1, 2021 through December 31, 2023. I've been farming Little Compton for over 18 years now and hold liability insurance as well. He did provide a certificate on that insurance. I would continue to plant and harvest corn and hay for my cows and rotary chop the field. I will maintain the property as required. I can tell you that I don't have any other proposals for that property at this time in front of me. So I think we take them one by one and vote them. Maybe that's the best way to do it. Do you have any comment on that, Wayne?
No, that's, if he's the only one, then we should vote on him, then vote for.
Yeah.
So that's Gagnon?
Yes.
That's Gagnon, yes. So do I hear a motion to accept Craig's proposal as
I'll make
presented?
that motion.
Second?
Second.
Ed seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you. Okay.
Hey, Bill,
Next
is
one.
it 200 per year?
Yes.
Okay.
No, read the dates. Excuse me, read the dates. I'm not sure that,
The dates are the 1st of 2021, January 1st through December 31, 2023. So 21, 2, and 3.
so that's
Three.
200 a year or 200 for the entire lease?
That's a good point. He writes it, I would like to continue my lease in the amount of $200 for the time period that I just mentioned. So he's proposing $200 for 3 years,
Yeah.
which, given the fact that he's unopposed, I guess we accept.
Cheryl, that's what it was last time, I believe, right?
I don't know.
All right, let's not. That's-
Anyway, I think we accept his $200 and
Yeah.
move on. Wishing Stone Farm. I have a nice note from Skip here. I will read it. Wishing Stone Farm would like to continue renting the Ag Trust property at the June and John Goulart property on Maple Ave. We would like to have a 3-year lease, as we have done in the past. We will pay $350 a year rent and will take care of mowing down the rear fields to the west of the fenced-in property that we've occupied for the last 10 years or so. We will make a concerted effort this year to clear the deer fence wired area of the climbing weeds which have appeared in the last 2 years. We will also treat the area at the base of the fence to keep the weeds from returning. We still intend on moving our peach and plum trees to another location in town, but due to extreme drought conditions in the 2019-2020, we have lost 65% of those trees and so are forced to utilize the fruit trees and the Goulart property for at least 2 more years. This new orchard just received funding to give us an irrigation system for that acreage, and we are hopeful we can move our operation to that location as soon as possible. So he's going to move it. I think he's talking about the Hathaway property, because he's going to move the trees in the next 2 years off of the Goulart property, he says, and that's what I take from that sentence. From the Goulart property, we continue to send any excess produce to the Amos House Food Center in Providence. This year, even with a statewide drought, we have been able to give over 1,450 pounds of mixed vegetables to feed the hungry. Our farm was also given a grant to purchase a no-till grain drill, which we have taken full advantage of at the Goulart and Al Peckham properties by interseeding multi-species cover crops that are sequestering carbon at 3 times the normal rate as in any year previous. This can be seen by just looking down the long rows at both properties. It can be further evidenced by checking out the same areas next spring, where one will see an enormous volume of green matter growing in these same areas. This is cutting-edge modern farming at its best, and the Land Trust should advertise this where appropriate to ring the bell of best practice active conservation. We will gladly help you write out the science of this in any publication you wish to detail this practice in. Number 2, we are requesting permission to continue leasing land on Peckham Road previously owned by Albert Peckham. We are planning on paying a rent there of $100 a year, and will take on the task of keeping the south-facing wall clear of any excess vines and perennials that will make the front wall seem unsightly. We are also applying for a grant to put a well from the USDA NRCS program, put in a well. This may ask for a lease contract of more than a 3-year term to fund such a project. They are granting us $11,000 to put in the well. We are planning on situating the well so it can benefit not only our agricultural activities on the Albert Peckham land, but it will also be situated so if the needs were such, it could service the water needs of any agricultural activities that occur to the east of our leased area. So the vineyard could theoretically utilize the well water for their vines if they found it necessary. If you have any questions, please notify me. Best, Skip. So the lease specifics are $350 a year for John and June Goulart for a 3-year period, and $100 a year for the Peckham, the portion of the Peckham property that he uses also for a 3-year period. I do not have any competing bids for those sites either.
I move we accept his bid.
David moves, we accept the bid. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
So Bill, before we leave Skip there, he volunteered to write up, lead edge farming technology and promote what he's doing. Why don't we take advantage of that and publicize one of our tenants and in support of what he's doing?
I will, and I think the vehicle.
I got one thing. Why don't we wait and see what he does first before we jump into this?
Yeah, fair enough. All
let's-
good points. And I think we have a vehicle, should those practices pan out, and we have a vehicle to do it through our outreach committee and some of the initiatives happening there. So that's a good points. So my final lease proposal in front of me here is from Farrellbank Farms. To whom it may concern, this letter is to request that the Little Compton Agricultural Conservancy Trust renew the lease on the above referenced piece of land to Farrellbank Farms. He references lease of 63-acre Almy property on West Main Road in Little Compton. Farrellbank Farms proposes that the terms remain the same as the lease signed on January 7th, 2019, specifically an annual rent amounting to $6,500, paid in kind as donations of farm goods to the Rhode Island Food Bank. I attach a packet of the delivery slips for the period September 2019 through the current date to illustrate our donations to them through the past year and the total amount of $7,025.08. Farrellbank Farms will continue to include this parcel in all of its normal public liability and workmen's compensation policies. The use of the land will continue to be exclusively agricultural. Hurlbing Farm prides itself on land stewardship. We treat this parcel of land with the same level of care as our own farm. We will continue to maintain this parcel through the use of NRCS specified cover crops, erosion control, yearly brush cutting of the perimeter, and crop rotation. Thank you for considering this application. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or require further documentation. Very truly yours, Jason M. Peckham. No competing bids. Do I hear a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I,
I abstain.
You're recused.
Okay, that's the least business. Thank you. all for that.
Bill, I had a call, Bill, I had a call from Cynthia Roca, and I talked to her about the vineyard.
Yeah. You froze up, David. Well, your screen did, I guess.
They didn't send us, they didn't send us a bid for that portion of, nobody
that's
bid on
good.
that portion of the vineyard.
That's right.
So why don't we,
Did I cut off?
You did, yes.
And so I took, Cynthia Roca called me and asked, was she supposed to do anything for this meeting? And I said, well, do you want to continue the property? She said, yes. And she would like to continue it at the same rent. They had a tough year because of the pandemic and the drought. However, she said they've recovered because liquor sales are selling well in the pandemic. So,
Okay, could you request that Cindy send us a note to that effect,
okay.
please?
And is 3 years okay with them for us, or do you want me to keep it less than 3 years?
3 years is okay.
And she said that the owner of the property is spending more time there because she's doing less in other endeavors. And she's actually learning about wine. She's studying wines for the first time. So we should consider that to be a continuous farm operation in Little Compton.
David, I have one observation and one question. When you talk to whoever is in charge there, can you find out if they would do something with that land that they don't do anything with? I mean, that's prime farmland and they're using it as lawn. They're mowing it and they're not farming it. If they don't want to farm it, we'll find somebody that will. I'm sure of that. As far as the open land that they've removed the grapes from and have just kept it mowed. It kind of
You mean
bothers
the
me.
land- Land that we own?
The land that we own.
It's the big blank space
Yeah.
we were gonna have the party in. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk with her and I'll talk to Pumpkin.
I mean, if they don't, if I'm sure Skip would use that, or I know another farmer that would like to use that piece. So if they're not gonna make it an effort to use it and put it into production, then we should try to find somebody that would. And I think we could. Just if you would, just mention that to them.
Yeah, I think that she went over the farm operation. I think they, just as a farm, forget about the problems that the owner has. They basically cut back on their expenditures because of the drought and the pandemic.
Yeah.
But, I'll find out for you. It's a good
No,
point.
I don't mean to say they have to put it back into grapes, but, do something with it besides mow it for, a lawn.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks for doing that, David.
Thanks, David.
Carol, Traki, contracted stewardship update.
So you all have, excuse me, a summary from me that was included in your packet. Not too much to tell you. One of the issues turned up from monitoring on Parker. We had a question about the eastern boundary line there. I think that's actually been resolved. I think the error was in my placement of the line. So that's good news because it means you don't have a problem there. We weren't sure. Still working on BDRs. You have a BDR for Ponce. There were a couple of questions that came up with that I don't know if you want to discuss now, or maybe Wayne or Bill could answer them otherwise. And then a conversation about forest management considerations for review.
Right. Okay, any questions for Carol?
On the subject of Ponce, we had cleared the land along Willow Avenue. And which I thought made a dramatic contribution to open up the vista of the field.
Mhm.
But you have the, I'm going to say the suckers have grown up from what we've cut to now 3 or 4 feet. Is it our plan to mow that or, bush hog it at least in the fall so that it doesn't take off in the spring?
Bill, Mike, we had Jesse Halver go in there and cut down the brush and whatnot as part of like a phase 1 deal.
Right.
I think the next step is to go in there and stump it, take out all the stumps, the roots and whatnot, and kind of rough grade it off to eliminate that problem.
Okay, I just didn't.
It's just that just haven't got around to getting.
It's okay. Well, bush hogging it would slow it down before we get to that. If it.
Yeah, well,
that
yeah, I
helps.
don't think you could because of the stumps in there. So it'd have to be stumps would have to go first before you could even try to mow it. And now that things are slowed up, maybe a good time to have look for bids to do something because maybe some of these guys are looking for a little winter work.
Okay.
If it's all right with the board, I'll see if I can get some bids lined up for that.
That'd be great.
Is there currently deer hunting on Ponce?
No, goose.
If somebody were interested, it would be great. I know it's a kind of a weird location based on its proximity to the commons, but the deer damage on the wooded portions is really severe. Anything that could be done
Oh,
to
yeah. Okay.
deer would probably be welcome.
Well, that goes back to David's map idea, because some of these guys don't know where. Some guys have idea where they want to go because they've already been there in years past, but a few don't, and they're looking for advice. So that's good to know. Okay.
I think it's still me.
Yeah, it is. Well, you sort of touched on it. Pine Bridge management plan for fee-owned properties. We were talking about the forest ideas. What else you got?
So monitoring reports, there were a couple of kind of outstanding items we had talked about. The Apfel Simons, now the Tybalts up in Compton Cliffs. There were some questions about the boundaries of the conservation area. They're not marked, whether or not you wanted to pursue something to kind of clarify that when you have a new owner who's
Right.
interested in understanding.
What do we have on it in terms of, what surveying is there?
I can, well, between me and Cheryl, we can pull for you what's available. There's a survey, but I don't think it has marked bounds.
Okay, let's look at the survey and then let's come back next month and request a survey if we find that what we have is totally inadequate.
Okay.
And
Carol, a quick question. Did you find problems down there, or it's just,
Well, it's a little bit unclear. It's mostly just a brush area that abuts the marsh. I don't know who's familiar with the property.
yeah,
But it runs, the boundary line for the conservation area runs right along somebody's driveway. The new owner, I believe, expanded the driveway a little bit to make a turnaround. And I'm pretty sure that that turnaround is now within the conservation area. There was some clearing done. I don't know if it was before or after they took possession. I went out, they wanted to meet with me when I did the monitoring visit, and they were very eager to understand. We had, spent an hour talking with them about what were invasives and what weren't, and what birds they might see, and the purposes that the vines and bushes that were growing there were serving. But it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have concrete bounds in that made it very clear where, what was yard and what was conservation.
yeah, good.
okay, thanks, Carol. Yeah.
Carol, you also made a comment about on Jack Savaggio's land, the old Simon's property.
Yes.
If you could, I wasn't clear where the dumping was. I
I
worked with Jack on SPA, so I know that he's generally been cooperative. So I'd be happy to follow up on that with you if you want.
I'd be happy. Oh,
I
go ahead.
believe I know where I know Jack pretty good, and I know where he's dumping, and I believe that's on his property.
Okay.
I'll see Jack, before the next meeting, and find out just where the boundary is, because he knows better than we do.
Okay.
I can point out too, it looked like it was like yard waste dumping.
Yeah, it is. It's branches and stuff out of his yard. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, and that it's okay. Well, I'd be happy to show you on a map.
Yeah, I do some mowing down further down the lane, and I see where the pile is, and
Okay.
some of that land he owns and some we own. So I'll find out just where the line is with him and whatnot.
Okay, what I saw was what I noticed was on the south side of the
Yeah.
right of way,
Right.
which is very clearly part of the conservation area.
Okay. I'll go over with Jack, and he's a pretty reasonable guy. We'll work something out.
Okay, we got this Pine Bridge Realty Management Plan in our packet here. As a sample, developed from scoring sheets, I believe. And is that the forest? That's the forest, and sort of template proposal for our review. We've got no action on Lash, no action on PT Marvel. Wislaki did get mowed, so that can come off for this year. Cummings Talbot, is that new? Is Jake building a bigger chicken coop or something?
I think that was,
I don't know what that
that
is.
was in the
Best of
monitoring.
my knowledge, that was resolved. I'm not sure
Yeah.
why it's on there.
Yeah, okay, I think that's a chicken coop. And then the Boy Scout, Wayne got an estimate for Amesbury mowing to, as you see here, open the gate area and improve access to the trail. And it's an example of what he was talking about a minute ago, is somebody looking for winter work and giving a pretty good price for it. So those opportunities do exist. Okay, acquisition.
Do you want to
So we
vote
wanna
to
vote-
accept
We
that?
want to vote on John's.
Oh, yeah, we do. Sorry. We let's see, I would say to entertain a motion to approve that proposal as given. Where's the number?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. Thank you that for reminding us to vote on that.
Bill, can I ask one quick question too?
Yes,
With the forest management considerations, how do you want to go forward? Do you want to work outside of a meeting or?
yeah,
make
let's
time-
work out outside of a meeting because I got a couple of other things to work with you outside of a meeting, so
Okay,
we need to get together. Okay, acquisition, Helger Bento, we're gonna do that in executive, nothing on driver, BHS can come off.
Can I bring something up on that?
Yes,
Now, we own that. We're gonna have to have somebody farm it, I believe, right? Is
that's
that
the
all right?
idea.
I already have somebody interested in it, and I don't know if I'd like to meet with him and see what his plans are, and maybe give him a 2-year free lease because of the property hasn't been farmed in quite a while, and he'd have to put some money into it to grow a crop. So let me just explore that, and we'll get back to it for the next meeting. Maybe we can get somebody farming there next spring.
That'd be great. Okay, but Cheryl, that can come off our acquisition list. Nothing on Cotta West, nothing on Baldrige, Ryan, nothing on Levine, Rice, Jackson.
So, Bill, I'm sorry, but go back
Yes.
to Baldrige. That's the south of Commons, right?
Yes,
So they're in the process of subdividing that right now, selling off the house and then keeping the other lot. So I don't think that's a viable candidate any longer.
well, that's what they were gonna do for us, right? They were only offering to sell us the south 15 acres anyway, so.
Right, but I think they've set that aside for her. Anyway, we can wait till next month, but
Yeah, but that's fine. It's a good point.
Okay.
That-
Yep.
Jackson, we approved the deal last month. I don't know where Joe stands, Jackson and Souza. I gotta catch up with Joe Marion on that. Westport Land Trust got done. That's a donation. That can come off. Alverness, Manchester, nothing. Ratcliffe, nothing. Nelson will discuss in executive. New business, volunteer outreach group update. Ned, are you on here?
Yes, he is.
You want to chime in on this, please?
Ned, you need to unmute.
Unmute. Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As we discussed at the last meeting, we have 3 initiatives going on. We have one volunteer looking at the annual report, not the legally mandated annual report, but enhanced annual report to explain your work and the advantages of the Ag Trust to the community and constituents. Another person is working on recruiting new farmers, not to compete with our current neighbors, but to get more interest from farmers. And that is going along, I think, pretty well. And the third thing that we're working on, Wayne and Bill and I got together the other day and went through each fee property, looking at its attributes and thinking about how the public could use each of those parcels. And we made notes on every parcel. Some of them need a further look. I'll be getting that back, that list back to Bill and Wayne annotated, and they can distribute it to you guys and get get input, but we're looking for, trail opportunities, public use, hunting, any appropriate use of fee-owned lands, including agriculture.
Right, great. Thanks, Ned. Okay. Community Food Bank. It's in our packet here. Ellie, have you had any further discussion with our food bank proposer?
Yeah,
I think Rusty's been talking to him and I think he's
Oh.
on the screen too.
yes.
Okay, go ahead, Rusty.
I got in contact with Tom, showed him 2 properties on Grange Avenue. That's plat 14, lots 42 and 51, if anyone's interested in looking. Tom and I talked for quite a while, and I asked him if he would be willing to come to the meeting, so to speak, on Zoom, and he's with us tonight and is prepared to give us a 3 or 4 minute overview of his proposal and take any of your questions. And with that, I'll hand it off to Tom Young.
Thank you, Rusty. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Thank you, Rusty, for inviting me, and Carol and Cheryl for putting me up on the agenda and sending me the Zoom link. I'd also like to thank Carter, Wilkie, and Ellie Field. I've had some really good email conversations with them about this idea leading up to this. And my background is I have about 7 years in organic farming at a variety of different scales and a wide range of crops in California, Washington State, Maine, and now Rhode Island. I just moved to Rhode Island a few months ago. My wife is an assistant professor at Roger Williams University. She's their aquaculture extension specialist and a professor of aquaculture and biology. I'm also a former research scientist like her, so I have a lot of experience in grant writing and a lot of success in grant writing. And a close friend of mine in Maine has been operating a food bank farm for 5 years, rather successfully in the area where my wife and I used to live there. And I was really inspired by her to pursue this idea after we moved to Rhode Island. And the name of her farm is Twin Villages Food Bank Farm. And their farm, Twin Villages Food Bank Farm in Maine, was modeled after a farm in Concord, Massachusetts called Gaining Ground Farm, which has been around for over 24 years. And both of those farms have really established, I think, quite a successful model for how to use agricultural land for donating food to hunger relief agencies. They both operate on about 3 acres and produce between 20 and 40,000 pounds of food per acre per year using organic methods. And both of them have been shifting recently to some no-till methods as well, with the interest of reducing soil erosion and nutrient leaching and increasing carbon sequestration. And Twin Villages Food Bank Farm does a lot of work with cover crops too. So I'm actually really interested in having some good conversations with Skip Hall about that. They donate 100% of their food to hunger relief agencies, which is exactly what I would like to do as well. And they're funded off of a combination of grants, both public and private, from organizations like the NRCS, as well as private foundations, and also quite a lot of donations from the public, from land trust members and other members of the public. They also hold a variety of fundraisers. Another aspect that I would like to really pursue, if I can do this, is to set up an educational program for small scale organic vegetable growing. So for instance, an apprenticeship, or I might look into working with a local college or university to try to create an accredited course that's a really hands-on style program. And I've been talking about this idea with a few land trusts in the area, including Little Compton Agricultural Conservancy Trust. And I'm currently working on writing up a nonprofit business plan, which I'm hoping to have ready in the next couple of months. And then once I can sort of establish a relationship with the the right land trust, I'm going to really start to pursue some funding from grants and elsewhere and foundations to start to set up some of the infrastructure. My hope is really to start testing soil and cover cropping and setting up a high tunnel for seed starting and some other infrastructure next year, ideally, so I can really start to hit the ground running with some crops for food donations in 2022 or even in next year if possible. Are there any questions that you would like me to follow up on at this point?
So this is David speaking. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you, David.
So what you're talking about sounds extremely positive, and from my point of view as a trust member, how does Little Compton compare with the other communities you've been talking to, and what do you think we should do to attract you so you could get the grants to do that in Little Compton?
That's a fantastic question. I think one of the things that I'm really noticing during this meeting that I like a lot about this land trust is there's a very strong dedication to putting farmland to use as farmland. And I really like to see that. And that's not something that I have seen with every other land trust I've met and discussed this with. I think it's been an aspect of most land trusts missions, but I think the fact that it is really a dominant priority for Little Compton Ag Trust indicates the importance of agriculture to your community, to the community of Little Compton. So I think that's one way in which I think certainly the Little Compton area is really attractive to me. I think based on my conversations with Rusty, it sounds like there's a really great well of experience from the local farmers in your area. So Rusty put me in touch with Andrew of Sweet and Salty Farm and Skip Hall, and I'm really looking forward to having those other farmers as resources. I'm currently working for a farm that's actually quite nearby Little Compton. I'm working for Roots Farm in Tiverton, so I already have on the ground experience of how fantastic the farmers are in your area. So I think that's a step in the right direction. I think one of the biggest challenges I'm going to face is frankly, especially based upon how this last year went, is setting up an irrigation system. So drilling a well and having access to power so I can have a pump for the well and set up irrigation so that a farm like the one I'm proposing can really continue to operate and produce well even in dry years. So that's going to be, I think, in terms of just as I'm starting to work through the budget of this, that's going to be one of the biggest expenses and one of the biggest challenges that I'm going to face regardless of where I am. So anything that I can do to get assistance with that, and I know RCS does occasionally have funds to assist with wells, but anything I think is going to be a huge benefit to getting this kind of an operation up and running.
One of those, Tom, if I can interrupt for a second, one of those Grange Ave properties does have a well on it.
Which one is that? Which property is that?
It's one of the ones on Grange Ave. I forget which one. It's the one, it's on the east side of Grange Ave.
The
just
Douglas
before
property.
The
Yeah,
Douglas,
just before-
okay.
Yeah,
So the one that's a little lower and closer to the marsh, it has a well on it.
right.
We didn't, I don't think we noticed, there was,
We
was
didn't go traipsing through the
It's,
swamp to go find it, but we had talked about it. I don't know how good it is or, whether it's usable even. But,
oh, you'd
we
mentioned
did
pipe. You'd mentioned the pipe that you thought might be a well. Is that what you're referring to?
Right, yeah, I think it's up on the northern wall there through the brush and swamp, and we didn't get all the way over there, but
Okay.
if this turns out to be something that goes forward, we can certainly look into that, I'm sure.
Right, yeah, getting a flow test on that, I think would be really a key first step, and doing maybe some water sample tests to make sure that the water is usable.
I'll make one other comment. Our food bank is very active here. For Thanksgiving, we fed 33 families, and some of those families have come from Tiverton because they do not have an active food bank. So if you're interested, Tom, that's another aspect that if I want to attract you, that's another plus for Little Compton.
Is that the Little Compton Wellness Center food bank?
Yes, in the basement.
Yeah, I've been in touch with them, and they've been really enthusiastic about my idea so far. And that is one thing I actually neglected to mention, is that the way Twin Villages Food Bank Farm operates is that they are using land that is owned by the Coastal Rivers Conservancy Land Trust in Midcoast, Maine. And the Coastal Rivers Conservancy is serving as a fiscal sponsor, as a 501c3 umbrella over Twin Villages Food Bank Farm. So I would be looking for since the Ag Trust is not a 501c3, I would be looking for a 501c3 that is somehow linked to the Ag Trust to serve as a fiscal sponsor. And I've approached the Little Compton Wellness Center, since they do have an active food bank, with that idea, and we've started discussing that.
We're not a 501(c), but we are a 501 something else, and the reason it's something else is because we're a municipal organization, but we
Right.
do take tax deductible donations. So like I said, I'm not a tax guy, but for some circumstances anyway, relationships with us are tax deductible.
Okay, so that might be worth having. I don't know if you have legal counsel or somebody that would be appropriate to approach with that question about whether LCACT, the Ag Trust, could serve as a fiscal sponsor to another organization.
Tony
Yeah.
might know the answer.
Joe
What was
would
that?
know. Tony might know. Joe can give the answer too.
Is that something you would like me to contact them about, or would someone?
I have your email in the traffic, so I'll put you and Joe together and he can answer
Okay.
the question for you.
Okay, fantastic.
But if that doesn't work, the food bank has the 501c3 category.
Right.
Right. And I can't recall off the top of my head the name of the person I've been speaking with there, but I could pull it up.
Sue Sisson. Sue Sisson or Russell Sisson, one of them.
Or
Marcia Riccardi, actually.
Yeah,
Marcia Riccardi.
so she's the executive director for the Wellness Center.
Marcia is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we've had some good email conversations so far, and if you'd like me to loop any of you into our next conversation, I'd be happy to, if you think it's appropriate.
Hey, Rusty, what do you think of his idea?
I think it's great. And, you know, that he's got a long road in front of him with those two properties if he chooses them, because they haven't been in agriculture in decades, which is one of the things that we would have to work through with him if we go forward with this, you know, if we're the chosen one, so to speak, because it is going to take a lot of investment of labor and capital to get those two properties going. So, you know, there are some practical things that we would have to work through, but from my discussions with Tom when we were out there, I don't see anything that's a showstopper.
I'd be happy to sign off as well if you would like to have conversations without me present. I'm completely okay with that.
We're not making any decisions tonight. I think that the gist is that it's encouraging. It's nice of you to come explain it to us. It's a really positive proposal, and if it works out that we can help, I think we would like to.
Okay.
We're not promising to help, obviously, but because we don't know what we're helping with exactly, but or how to help. But as we flesh out some details and we make more choices, keep us in the loop, and it's something we could potentially be involved in and be helpful for you.
That's fantastic. Thank you. One example of how these relationships really help to move things forward is there was recently a call for proposals put out by NRCS for high tunnels. And until I have essentially a lease arrangement with a land trust for my idea, I'm not eligible to apply for that. But I think that my idea, once I have that relationship, I think can be very competitive for those kinds of funds. So just having that kind of a commitment of reciprocity between the organization I'm proposing to start and a land trust, I think really helps to move funding avenues or open up doors for funding avenues. So
Yeah, we have a good working relationship with NRCS on a number of levels, so. Okay, Tom, thank you very much. Any other questions? We'll go to the next item then. Thanks again, Tom. Nice to meet you. The community garden. Any update there?
No, she never got, I think that the emails are in the packet, but she basically wanted to know what she could do to sweeten up her proposal or whatever. And at our last meeting, you said, you know, we've gone back and forth a couple of times. It's up to her at this point to just figure it out.
Right, and I would stand by that position unless somebody else has another idea.
Yep.
Okay, the last item in this is adoption of easement language. There's a bunch of stuff in your packet with correspondence with myself and Joe and Mike. And I just put it in there to point out it is something that is active. We're working on it. I try to look at it, and anyone who else wants to look at it for any given project is welcome to have some input, both to our standard language and to a specific property. Like, for instance, this latest go round is really aimed at Jackson. So, but it's going to apply to, you know, everything going forward. And then the other thing is that there are ongoing tax code implications that we need to track. And so I just put this in there so to let you know that I'm trying to keep up with that stuff if I can. I had Joe look at some things. So, and also to encourage any of you guys, if you hear even something anecdotally, let's check it out and keep working on improving our legal structures. It's important because, as we know, if all of us who went through vineyard hearings and so on, when the rubber hits the road, it all comes down to the language in the easement, and so we can't be idle in terms of trying to improve them.
Bill, I'd only suggest that maybe you pass along the model easements that you sent me and Joe that were sort of an outline of things to consider when you're doing these. Both
right, okay.
Connecticut and Rhode Island that are very, thought-provoking. So it'd be good for everybody to think about.
Yeah, okay. I'll send them to Cheryl and she can distribute. Okay, is John Berg here?
Yes, he is.
Would you like to report tonight, John?
Yeah, just some quick points here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Season for due diligence, finishing up conservation easement monitoring reports and that kind of thing I can share with Carol if there's overlap. Fundraising, planning ahead for winter stewardship work. I don't know, Wayne, maybe I'll want to pick your brain for contractors. I seem to burn through them. We are going to close with BHS on lot 37. They're donating that to us as a gift. That's the corner of Pottersville and Amesbury Lane. We've got another conservation easement coming on hopefully before the end of the year at Rockbridge Road. We did close with the Coopers. I spoke with Michelle. She's got some oil spill money I want to bring to Little Compton. She talked about Booth and Helger Bento. I know those are on your list. She said she was having, Bill, if you already have spoken with her, I don't have to go through this, but.
I have, but I didn't mention it to the group tonight. So
Well,
Go
I
ahead,
guess
John.
all I really wanted to say here, she thought she was out of bond money for Booth. Booth is important to TNC as a piece of forest. So if you talk about it and it looks like funds are short, don't walk away because Michelle doesn't have money. Maybe we can find some. It's a good place for hunting. It connects to the 8-rod management area. And I think ultimately it's something that makes sense for DEM to have a hand in as a point of public access. But her bond money is running out. She did think that she might have some ALPC funds for Helger Bento. All this talk about farming, I have to say I have some concerns for the long-term viability of farming in Tiverton. There's a lot of generational transfer right now. There's a lot of development threat. There isn't the same conservation capacity to protect some of these big properties. And, you're a little Compton Agricultural Trust, but if there were a way to kick that around someday, I monitored an easement that we hold up there on a 9-acre farm, and it damn near brought me to tears. I was so upset about what was happening there.
I can
That's all
tell
I'm
you.
gonna say. Because I'm
Unfortunately,
on a
John,
public call, and I don't know who's here. All I can see is the crew here. So
unfortunately, John, I can tell you, we are highly restricted to Little Compton.
yeah. Well, I'm not asking for your help. I'm just appreciate how different things are in Little Compton. I guess that's my story.
Okay, thank you, John.
Yep.
Okay, so we have 2 new applications. One from Arthur Goldstone, who's proposing to donate lot 7-2 on Plat 14 off of Grange Ave behind his house. Mike and I visited the property with Arthur a week or 2 ago, and it's lovely. He keeps it mowed. Jackie mows it a couple times a year, and we can all go down there. But it's I think it's 7 acres roughly, and it sort of abuts a piece we already have with called Keeney, and it'll be a nice addition to our portfolio. And then we have an application from Alan Booth for the property John was just mentioning up to the east of Helger Bento, up the same hillside. In fact, he has a right of way to access that property through Gene's place. And he wants to sell it in fee. As I've mentioned in previous months, I have talked to the state about it. They're interested in helping. And I've talked to Mr. Booth, and he has got the property actively marketed for sale. He thought he was going to get an offer, but he was going to tell that offer that he was waiting to hear from conservation organizations. So I would like to entertain a motion to accept this application.
Do we need to accept both applications?
I guess we do, yes. Yep.
I'll move that.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. So on the Booth item, Cheryl, can I get money for an appraisal for this, under this heading?
No,
He's gone quiet.
I'm taking that as a yes. So I've talked to Michelle about an appraisal, but I don't have a lot of faith in the state getting it done in a timely way. So I'd like approval to, in an amount not to exceed $800 to get an appraisal on the Booth property, if I may.
I'll move that.
Second. Put that motion for up to $1,000.
Okay, 1,000, I don't think I'll do it, but that's fine. So Mike made the motion, Ellie seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. I'll get a hold of Judy on that. That concludes our regular meeting agenda. Thank you to the public guests we had tonight and their input. And we're going to, is it adjourn? We're going to poll my members. I guess we're going to vote to go into executive session now is what we do. So I need a motion to do that, I believe.
So move.
Mike made it.
Second.
Rusty seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're going to hang up and wait. Thank you, Carol Traki. Tom, nice to meet you.
Thank
See
you.
you, John. See you, Ned. And I'll see you all at the next meeting.
And back here when you're done.
Yep, we'll do.
All right, now you're gonna get me,
Yeah. Hey, hey. Brody, get in the shower. Come on.
Welcome back. That was quick.
I'm just taking that.
One more, we have a quorum and we can adjourn.
Yeah.
Nice picture, Ellie, thanks.
Oh,
Beautiful bride.
yeah, you know. It was a long drive to Florida, though, I'll tell you.
Oh, baby. Yeah, that would have been.
That's where the wedding was?
Yeah, so we drove down Friday, got there Saturday morning. Wedding was Sunday, and we drove home Monday.
Oh, brutal.
It was brutal, so. Yep. But
Okay,
it
we
was
have a,
very nice.
that's great. We have a quorum, Carol Wardell, we have Wayne Montgomery, Ellie Field, myself, and David Wexler has returned to public session. And David has made a motion that we adjourn. Ellie has seconded, and we're unanimously approving said motion.
So before you do that, on your agenda, there was a notation to seal minutes if you needed to, or seal the executive session if you needed to. Did you need to do either of those?
I don't think we need to do that now. We can do it next month.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Okay,
Thank you, everyone.
all right.
Good night, everyone.